Hi everyone, Yasas que Carlos Tirzata to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going to be making Arakas, Laderos, and patatas, which is basically green pea and potato stew. It translates to that in Greek. And this is one of the dishes in the category known as ladera. Ladi in Greek is oil, and they're just usually made with lots of olive oil. But we toned it down here because I know that most people are watching calories and things like that, so you can adjust it when you're making it at home. This is so delicious, and it's served as a main dish in Greece, but it's perfect as a side. It goes well with everything: seafood, beef, lamb, chicken, pretty much everything. It's delicious and so simple to make. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to begin by finely chopping an onion. This onion seems really big, even though I could use it because I ended up making a bigger batch, but I'll just use some of it and save the rest for another recipe. Finely chop it and add it to the pot with lots of olive oil. You can go up to a half a cup of olive oil because this is a dish that comes from the group of dishes known as ladera in Greek, which are dishes that are really made with lots of olive oil. But you could do a quarter cup or a little bit more. I'll leave it up to you. Cook the onion until it's nice and soft and golden. In the meantime, prepare all of the remaining ingredients. So you can add 2 potatoes to this, or you could leave the potatoes out. I'm adding a few more because, like I said, I'm making a little bit of a bigger batch. Peel the potatoes, clean them really well, and then dice them into medium-sized pieces. This size is really good so that way the potatoes don't melt. I have diced them smaller in the past, and they kind of melt into the sauce, which is also nice because it makes the sauce thicker, but I prefer this size. I'll also dice up these baby carrots around the same size as the peas. If you have big carrots, you can slice them into bigger rounds. That's totally fine. And then you're going to need crushed tomatoes for this. You could use canned crushed tomatoes. A 15-ounce can is going to be enough, or around 1 pound. But I do have these fresh tomatoes here that I'm just going to grate over my box grater and then just set them aside in this bowl. Once the onion is ready, we're going to add 3 cloves of grated garlic and just warm it through for a few seconds until it's nice and fragrant. The carrots and the potatoes are going to go in, season them with some salt and freshly cracked black pepper. The tomato sauce is also going to go in at this time, and we're just going to mix it up and cook it for a few seconds. Next, we're going to add the peas. So you could add 1 or 2 pounds of peas. I'm adding 2 pounds of frozen peas. These are frozen, like I said. They're not thawed out at all, but you can use canned if that's what you have. That will work as well. Add the peas to the pot. Season them also with some salt and black pepper. I also like to rinse out the tomato bowl with a cup or 2 of water. Maybe if you're making a bigger batch, 2 cups of water would be better, so that way you'll end up with a little bit of sauce. Bring the mixture to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, reduce the heat to medium, put the lid on, and let it cook nice and slow for about 25 to 30 minutes, or until the sauce thickens and the potatoes are fork tender. They should be really nice and soft. And at this point, I'm just going to finely chop some fresh dill. Fresh dill is really nice in this dish. It goes really well with the peas. Finally chop about 1 to 2 tablespoons of it. Add it to the pot with about a teaspoon of dried mint. If you have fresh mint, you could do that too. It really adds depth of flavor. Mix it all up, and you can taste the sauce at this time to see if it needs more salt or pepper. Mine is looking a little bit dry, so I'll add a little bit more water. I do want there to be a little bit of a sauce. And as the dish sits, the potatoes, you know how potatoes are, they like to soak up all of the liquids. So you do want there to be a little bit of a sauce, like I said before. So you can add a little more water and just warm it through, and it'll be really nice when you serve it. You can serve this as is or topped with feta and olives with some nice toasted bread on the side to soak up those delicious, saucy, juicy bits. This is so good, and it's ready to serve. So once it's ready, it is best to wait a few minutes before you serve it because as it sits, the sauce gets thicker. This tastes even better the next day, but when you go to reheat it, you're going to see that most of the sauce will be pretty much absorbed by the potatoes. So you can add a little bit of broth to it or water and just warm it through nice and slow before you serve it. So that way there's some sauce in there for you. It's just so good and it's just very delicious. So this is the tomato version, but you can make it lemony by leaving the tomatoes out, adding about a quarter of a cup of lemon juice, and instead of the onion, you could do 5 or 6 scallions to this. You can add some artichokes. That's a nice combination. It's just so good both ways, but the tomato one is a little bit more comforting if you ask me. Time for the taste test. And when you slice into it, you'll see that the potatoes literally melt, the potatoes and the carrots, but the green peas aren't mushy, so that's good. So good. I love the combination of dill with the green peas. Mint, you can taste it a little bit in the background. It's nice and fresh. Like I said, it's so good. Slightly sweet from the carrots in there. There's no sugar in this whatsoever. You could make it a little bit spicier by adding some crushed red pepper flakes if you'd like. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. If you have any recipe requests, post them down below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Yes,